officially welcome you. So please welcome Sam.
Kia ora tātou, ko Ngāti Tūwhare toko iwi, ko Yoruba in Nigeria, toko iwi hoki, ko Samuel Gaskin, taku ingoa. I'd also like to acknowledge that we meet on stolen land. I'd like to acknowledge the people of the Kulin Nation, and I'd really love to acknowledge a room full of beautiful, diverse faces who have made the brave decision to step into living their dream as their career, and that's you guys. I had a minor freak out about this on the way here. I've never done one of these, by the way, and the reason I was freaking out was because I flipped into like insecure performer mode, like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? It needs to be amazing. I need to tell them all the things. I need to make sure they don't sign with a shit agent for the first few years of their career like I did. And once I calmed my farm a little bit and had a little think about it, I was like, no, Sam, you just need to go there and have an open and honest conversation with some cool human beings, because that's what you're really good at. So rather than me like stand up here and talk at you for the next 5 minutes or whatever they gave me, I would really love to just have an open conversation with you guys. And I want you to get as much as you possibly can out of this 5 minutes with me, and I want you to just ask things that you would like to know. Yeah? So I'll get the ball rolling with how are you all feeling right now? Honestly. Tired. Same. Shout out to you for being honest. How else? Excited. Yeah, same. And I think if anything, like excitement and curiosity and really tapping into those feelings is what will get you to where you need to be. Yeah? You'll feel a whole lot of things walking into this weird beast called the entertainment industry. And if there's anything that I've learned, it's that all those feelings are all good, so long as I can sit with them and be with them and know what they are. And also know that the work I need to do is really on myself to be okay living and working in this weird world called entertainment. I want to get back to asking you what you want to know, because otherwise I'll go off on a tangent, like I just did. What do you want to know? What do you want from today? What do you want from your career? Just shout things out, that's fine. Be brave. Yeah, I'm all about that. Yeah, realizing how you can earn enough income to not have to work in hospitality or in a job that you hate. Let me tell you, it's 20 years down the track, and I feel like I've only just begun to balance that out. But I think the coolest thing for me is now, I really love and acknowledge any gig that I get to do, because I know that it contributes to me being able to live my best life in general. So like, for instance, I, for most of last week, was working at the races in the birdcage. I know, shame. I needed the coins. But the whole time, I knew that, A, I got to poke fun at people who thought they were great in the birdcage. But B, I knew that being there and working that gig was contributing to me being able to give up my time and be here today. It's contributing to me being able to have a day in the studio next week with Joel Maher and record some music. And really, working hospitality isn't the worst thing in the world, because that too is going to contribute to you being able to live your dream. Yeah? So my advice on that one is find the things that you love to do, and know, no matter how shit they might feel at the time, they're contributing to you being able to do this thing called live your life and do the entertainment career thing. Next, hit me. What do you want to know?
Spill the tea. Who was your bad agent?
Ooh. Shots fired! Shots fired! I won't name names, but I'll tell you a few stories. So, essentially, I felt like I needed to sign with the first person who was interested in me. Do not do that. Yeah? Essentially, you want to be able to build a good relationship with this person that lasts for years and years and years. Yeah? So you go into those meetings and you interview them. At the end of the day, they will be working for you, not the other way around. Yeah? And you don't need to sign with the first person who shows interest in you. Yeah? You need to feel it out and feel them out and look at them and be like, is this person somebody who I can see representing me as a human being in the world? Do they carry the same energy that I do? Do I want them to be in meetings speaking for me? Yeah? Now to a couple of those fun stories. I got my first movie about, I don't know, what was it, like 2007, 2008? Man, I feel old right now. And my agent at the time, I don't think she'd brokered a deal like that before, because she was new and fresh and I was new and fresh. The first schedule was a South Indian film called Orange. I played a graffiti gang leader, obviously, because I'm gangster AF. The first part of the schedule was shot in Melbourne, and the second part of the schedule was shot in Malaysia, right? And when it came to signing off on the second half of the schedule, the production company came to the agent and essentially said, Sam needs to take a pay cut because there's no such thing as equity or unions or anything in Malaysia. And she came to me and said that, and I was kind of like, well, no. I'm in the film already. They've spent millions of dollars on footage with me in it. Like, I need to be paid properly. And she told me that they could cut me out of the film, or, what was the other ridiculous thing she said? Oh yeah, replace my head with CGI or some shit. Yeah. And it was at that moment that I realised, oh fuck, she isn't capable of dealing with this kind of job because she hasn't done it before. And I'm now in a situation where somebody who's not capable of representing me is having to. So, long story short, I wish I had been brave enough to call the union and call equity and find out where I stood on that. I wish that I knew what I knew now then, but I essentially took what she said and went to Malaysia and shot the second schedule, taking a pay cut. I also had $0 and 0 cents while I was there because she owed me a whole bunch of money that hadn't been paid and guaranteed me that it would be paid once I landed in Malaysia. It wasn't. Luckily I was doing a movie and had my own driver and was staying in a hotel and could order room service and all that type of thing. But I literally was doing this massive job, you know, one of the biggest things I'd done in my life. And I was in Malaysia and I had $0 and 0 cents and I had this silly woman telling me that I should take a pay cut because there's no such thing as a union in Malaysia. That's one of the stories. I won't bore you with the rest. Let's just say I landed back in Melbourne. I got a phone call to go and audition for a show called Hairspray. I went, I auditioned, I booked it. As I was filling out the who is your agent thing, I was like, I'm just gonna leave this blank. And I did. And I went off into Hairspray and made this decision to do a bit of research this time and to make sure whoever I got on board was somebody that really aligned with who I was and somebody who could handle the type of jobs that I had the capability of booking. Bit of a tangent. What do you want to know next? Yes. Sorry, you go first.
What kind of questions would you ask an agent if you were meeting with them?
Oh, I would start with, how would you manage somebody like me? What would you do with me? Who would you introduce me to? Where can you see me going? What type of roles are you going to put me up for? Are you going to wait until you see a brief that says tall brown man with curly hair? Or are you going to get a brief in that has a character description that doesn't point out what race you should be? And are you going to be able to push for me going off that character description, knowing the capability of the type of people I can play? Yeah? Do not be fooled into thinking you need to go in and sign your life away and sit there and wait for the phone to call whilst you're waiting for a physical description to come across their desk. It's getting a little bit better, but for me, who I want representing me is somebody who I know can go in and bat for me and have those discussions that might be a little bit difficult, that might be like, well, Sam isn't quirky with red hair, but he's quirky with curly hair and brown skin, and he's really fucking amazing. You should book him. Or at least get him in for an audition so that he can do the rest of the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. I've got to wrap it up. That last question that was over there.
How do you go about if you do end up signing with an agent that you're not happy with? How do you go about getting out of that?
Well, look, I would say have the conversation and be brave, yeah? Because essentially, if you're not happy in that relationship, and it is a relationship, you need to be able to let them know, and they need to be able to do something about that, or see that the relationship isn't working for you, which means it's also not working for them, and it's time for you to separate, yeah? Do your research and your homework and read over your contracts and that type of thing, preferably before you sign them. But there's always the possibility to switch things up and change, yeah? You just need to be brave and take the first steps. I just want to finish by saying equity to me is a community, yeah? It's a community of people who care so passionately about the industry that they live and work within that they give up their time to actually put their heads together and decide how we are going to change things and how are we going to get things moving along. And I really encourage you guys to be those people. You are equity. And yes, there's 32 of us on the National Performers Committee, and there's some really amazingly talented people amongst that 32 who are great actors who've had big careers and that type of thing, but you're just as important. And you have just as much right to get in the mix and make sure you start changing things up and switching it up so that the industry represents who you are and the vision you have. I would like to get you to maybe take a bit of a pledge with me, if you're up for it. It's optional, but just saying it's really fucking awesome, so if you don't do it, you might be sad. Right hand up. I pledge.
I pledge
to live my best life.
to live my best life
Whilst doing what I love.
whilst doing what I love,
Staying true to myself.
staying true to myself,
And joining equity.
and joining equity.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. I think we'd all like a copy of the pledge, please.
Sure.
Now,